I followed Jeremy Corbyn campaign very closely.
Mm.
I had a number of friends in the UK who kept me abreast on literally a twice daily basis. I was very interested in watching how things unfolded. To just jump to the end and I'll fast forward to the end and I'll get to the beginning.
Mm.
The evidence seems to be that Jeremy Corbyn did not lose because of the anti-Semitism campaign, which seemed to have had relatively little resonance in the British population in general. They didn't seem to care very much, judging from the polls. What killed him was Brexit. He
Mm.
couldn't change the subject.
Yeah.
He puts forward a radical platform on things like your NHS and things like that. But um, uh, Boris Johnson got just the right slogan,
Mm.
and it was clear people, a large constituency felt we voted to get out of the EU, and now these elites are trying to reverse the popular referendum.
Yeah.
And Johnson won on that. But one aspect which did seem to affect Corbyn significantly was he was perceived as a weak leader. And part of the reason he was perceived, in my opinion, he was perceived as a weak leader is he didn't stand up to the, I prefer to call it the Jewish Israel lobby. He didn't want to stand up to them. He didn't want to say what was staring him in the face and what he certainly knew. The campaign had nothing to do with anti-Semitism. There is no evidence, any evidence whatsoever, none, that there is significant anti-Semitism in the UK. A marginal portion of the population, maybe 5%, 10%, harbor what you might call strong anti-Semitic views. The whole campaign was a complete farce, completely fabricated in order to defend Israel.
What is anti-Semitism, Professor? I mean,
Wait, let me
yeah.
just finish. However, there was a curious twist to it because the whole British ruling elite, not just the Tories, but the Labour Party leaders,
Mm.
discovered that they could use anti-Semitism not to protect Israel, but to oust a radical Labour candidate.
Mm.
So now you had a confluence of interests between the whole British ruling elite, the entire media establishment, from the Guardian and the Independent on one end to your tabloids on the other end, and all the papers in between, all of them shouting and shrieking about anti-Semitism, but most of them, they didn't give a darn about Israel.
Mm.
They cared about the fact that this radical Labour candidate might upset the social hierarchy, and that their positions, not just financial or economic, their social positions, they all, the editor of The Guardian, they all feel threatened by this leveler. He wants to level society, bring down the elites, bring everybody down to the same level, this radical leveler. And so the Jewish elites worked in collaboration with all the British ruling establishment exploiting the weapon of fighting anti-Semitism, which doesn't exist in any significant way in the UK. It's ludicrous to claim otherwise. To use the weapon of anti-Semitism oust someone who was not just critical of Israel, but critical of the whole social, economic structure in the UK. And that's what made it so powerful a weapon this time around. It wasn't just about Israel. The Jewish elites were the poison tip of this spear, which was the whole British ruling elite.
Unscripted.